Hey class, tomorrow we're going to be watching 12 Angry Men the movie. And since we already know the story quite well and the actors and characters, I thought we'd probably spend a little bit of time focusing on actual cinematography aspects or things that kind of the director uses to enhance the story. So I'm going to be talking about a few terms today, which you'll be looking for on your sheet while you're watching the movie. Now you're not going to be looking for all of these, but I'm going to go over all these, you'll have a little bit more knowledge, and you'll be looking for some of the more important ones tomorrow. So, first off, we have the score. The score is kind of like the musical accompaniment. It is all instrumental, generally. It's not the soundtrack, it's not the songs associated with the movie. It's kind of the music that the director includes to enhance the emotional tone of whatever's going on. Often it can kind of even give you clues as to what's happening. Take for example the movie Jaws. When you hear the da-dum, 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 you know the shark's going to attack. So, in 12 Angry Men, be looking for the moments where there is music and try to figure out what kind of music is it? Is it happy music, sad music, fearful music? And how does that enhance whatever emotion you're being expected to feel during that time? Next one, establishing shot. What an establishing shot is it kind of introduces the setting of the movie. It establishes where the action is taking place. So generally, it's kind of just shows you the whole setting. For example, if I was to give you an establishing shot of this classroom, I would probably want to show you the whole classroom. That way you can get an idea of where the action is taking place. You feel grounded. The next one is a pan shot. A pan shot is actually what we just did right now. It is whenever the camera turns on a singular axis. So, and it's often used as an establishing shot. So sometimes an establishing shot and a pan shot are the same thing. An establishing shot is just a pan shot that happens at the beginning of a movie. Okay, next one is a dolly shot. This is going to be tricky. A dolly shot is a steady camera movement through a single shot. So the camera is like it's on a dolly or train tracks, and it's heading one direction. Let's see, where can we go? Let's do a dolly shot towards the Enterprise. Okay, so it remains on a singular axis, and it travels in a straight line. A little bit smoother than what I'm doing right now. So the question is, why do we do a dolly shot? And the director has actually several different purposes for a dolly shot. Generally, it is meant to have you have the perspective of one character as a character is moving. So basically you're following that character as if you're like looking through their eyes as they go through the room. So it kind of forces you to look through that character's eyes. So if you see a dolly shot, generally you're either supposed to be taking the perspective of a character and feeling what he's feeling, or often it's also you're taking the perspective of some kind of godlike being as they look down upon a scene. Okay. Next up is a rack focus. A rack focus is when there's two different elements in a scene. And first the camera focuses on one and then the other. Generally, a good example, I can't think of a specific movie, but say there's a character, say as in Lord of the Rings, and generally they want to show what the character is up against. So basically you have Frodo and his company, and then you have the mountains of Mordor in the background with some eerie glow. Okay? So first off, the camera would focus on the character, and then it would focus on the Mordor. So it shifts focus from one thing to the next. Now the reason to do that kind of a rack focus is to kind of almost put those two elements in contrast with each other. Whereas first it focuses on the small little hobbits and then the big mountain. It kind of shows the contrast between the small little hobbits and the big mountain. Right? That's why you have a rack focus. Kind of shows the difference between the two things. Okay. Next up, we have a wide shot. Now, a wide shot, let's see, shows the whole character. As you can guess, it kind of shows quite a bit here. If you check on the blog, you can see that first one, that's a wide shot. It definitely shows the whole character. Now, why would you want to have a wide shot? Definitely if the director wants to kind of portray a distant feeling. If you're far away from the characters, there's probably a reason for it. The director wants you to feel far away from the characters. So think in 12 Angry Men, there's a couple characters who need to kind of feel isolated, probably going to have a wide shot on them. So you can see them, and they're almost tiny, and they're all alone. What characters are all alone in 12 Angry Men? Okay. Next shot is your kind of most commonly used shot. It's a medium shot. That's what we actually filmed our little movies over the last 2 days in. Those are medium shots. Medium shots show basically from the waist up and generally focus on one or two characters, not too many. So that's kind of, a medium shot is your regular kind of regular distance to a character. Often it's used in dialogue or just actually most throughout the movie. Again, if you take a look on the blog, there you can see, generally from the waist up, and it's for when two characters are talking to each other. The director only wants you to focus on those two characters and not really kind of be distracted with anything else. The next two shots are really to show emotion. And so when there's emotional times throughout the movie, you're going to be seeing either a close-up or an extreme close-up. A close-up shows a character's face. And generally it's used to show a character's feelings. So if like there's an intense emotional time, like, oh, I'm voting because of my son. I hate my son, blah, blah, blah. All right, he's guilty. No, he's innocent. All right, that's why you would want to have the character's facial expressions involved. Now the last one is extreme close-up. The best example I can think of is in those old cowboy movies when the two cowboys are about to draw on each other. And sure, it has them like, you know, at first has a wide shot and then a medium shot with their hands. But then there's some extreme close-ups. There's generally an extreme close-up on the hands as they're twitching and getting ready to use the gun. Or in 12 Angry Men, maybe it's an extreme close-up on the knife. Or, if you're in a Western, an extreme close-up shows those characters' eyes as they're squinting at their opponent, seeing who's going to draw first. Alright, so extreme close-ups are generally focusing on some small item, say like a switchblade knife, or a hand on a gun, or it's some specific part of a face. It's just super close in. Okay, so that is all the cinematography elements we're going to talk about today in preparation for the movie. And if you're watching a movie tonight, or like a real movie, start looking for some of these things and start thinking about them. So not only am I going to have you identify them, but I'm going to have you try to discuss why you think the director used that element at that time. So, happy watching, good luck, and I'll talk to you soon.